I am thrilled to introduce our last speaker of the day, MIndy Eisenberg. MIndy is the founder and director of Yoga Moves MS, a nonprofit 501c3 with the mission of improving the quality of life for individuals with MS, Parkinson's disease, and neuromuscular conditions. She is the author of Adaptive Yoga Moves Anybody, created for individuals with MS and neuromuscular conditions, and Adaptive Yoga Cards, daily yoga moves for all ages and abilities. MIndy has provided yoga therapy to individuals with mobility challenges for over 19 years and thrives on building a strong, mighty community for her students and families. She is a qualified mindfulness-based stress reduction teacher, certified Buteyko breathing instructor, and Reiki master. She created the widely acclaimed annual virtual Holistic Health and Wellness Forum for MS and presents at national MS, corporate, and yoga therapy organizations and has trained hundreds of adaptive yoga instructors. She has a Bachelor of Science from Northwestern University and a Master of Health Services Administration from the University of Michigan. Please welcome MIndy Eisenberg, who will speak on the topic of adaptive yoga for MS.
Well, last speaker, but really we're going to do some moving together. I'm going to try to limit the talking and do some more moving with you, both in person and online. If anybody in person wants to come up here with us, come on. She's going, maybe, So yes, I'm going to move right along. People ask me why I do what I do. And there's this little angel in the corner called my mom, who had primary progressive MS. And she took me through a journey of practicing myself for a decade and then gave me a little tap on the shoulder and said, okay, now it's time for you to go teach other people adaptive yoga, including teachers and people with MS who would like to use it as a practice for their mind, body, and spirit. So what we're going to do in our time together is we're going to breathe, because I know if you are watching this and you're here, you're breathing, right? Right. Check it out. Take one hand to your belly and just feel. Inhale through your nose. Is the belly inflating? I hope so. And then when you exhale, it goes back down. That is the key to this presentation. It is the foundation, and when you're breathing, you're doing yoga. So primarily what we're going to do today is we're going to do some moves together. Yoga is an umbrella. Today we've been talking a lot about nutrition and lifestyle and different types of modalities that fit under the holistic umbrella. And yoga can serve as a way of thinking about it. Breathing, mindful movement, lifestyle, many of the discussions, topics today fit right under there. It is a type of self-care. It is a type of self-care. And really, all the modalities, everybody here, including Dr. Khatri, taking care of yourself, positive attitude, that falls within that umbrella. So yoga is not really about self-improvement, though. It's about self-acceptance of where we're at. I have a lot of people who tell me, I can't do yoga, but that's because they think, right, Dr. Khatri? They're not thinking positively that, yes, they can. I'm going to tell you just a little story. Is that I have a student who's also a neurologist who has MS, and this is when I first started teaching like 18 years ago, and I looked at her one day and I said, what's going on? Why are you laughing? What's going on? She goes, Mindy, I can't move my toes. And I'm like, well, but you could think about moving your toes even if they're not moving, which also goes along with what we've been talking about today, is picturing what you can do in your mind. And you never know what might happen. And then a few months later, I'm like, Jody, what's going on? You're laughing. She goes, I just moved my toes. So when we think that way, it's very possible it's going to happen. There is that neuroplastic pathway that she was creating when she thought about it. So you've heard this. Yoga can benefit flexibility. I think a lot of people think about stretching when they think of yoga, but yoga's not just flexibility. Yes, it could help some spasticity. It's also strength. Many of the poses call in this feeling of strength, like the warrior pose, and we're going to practice that. Very, very helpful with the proprioception that was also talked about today, the feeling of where you're at in space, which helps not only coordination but balance. Someone online asked a question about posture earlier today, and what we do in yoga is we have an optimal blueprint for posture. For instance, if you guys are seated or standing, you can feel your feet under your hips. If you're standing about feet hip distance apart or seated, your feet, your heels are underneath your knees, and you're sitting tall with a tall spine, long spine, forward on your sitting bones. I'm giving a crash course in posture, but the point is there is a blueprint, but we are human beings, and so we're not forcing the body into this blueprint, but yes, we can use those ideas, those guidelines to improve our posture. Yes, it can help with fatigue. Many students say that they benefit very much from just the breathing helps with the fatigue. Also, there is restorative yoga where you stay in a pose for a while and kind of soak it in. The body is fully supported to relax. So that could be one way to help the fatigue. And the other one that we heard today was aerobic activity. Or activity in movement can help the fatigue. Most of our students who walk into the room and they're feeling kind of tired when they come in, very often say they feel better afterwards. And cognition, memory, focus, and mood, that all plays in because of this whole mind-body connection with the meditation and with the movement, mindful movement. So is yoga for MS different? It's really not, except we try to make it a lot of fun. We use the props such as a chair, a wall. They can help make sure that you feel safe when you're practicing balance. And yes, sitting on a chair could be a balanced posture. No pain, all gain. That is our motto. You really should not be feeling pain when you're doing yoga. And sometimes it takes a while to decipher what is pain. So if you're practicing at home, you get to adjust the temperature, and you can also press the stop button. In an in-person class, we do a lot of pausing and then taking a break and encouraging that. So every student may not be doing the same thing at the same time. I'm kind of smiling because we do have someone in the audience who was in Michigan and moved to Madison, Wisconsin, and so she knows what I'm talking about with all the laughing in the room. So there are some fallacies or myths out there that you have to be flexible to do yoga. And the reality is, if you're stiff, you're going to benefit from it even more. It's not all about the stretching. It's not all about the postures. Believe it or not, it's really not about what that posture looks like, but it is what you feel inside of you. That's what it's about. And I think that also gets back to the power of thinking and thinking about how do I feel in this pose? What is the energy that I want to evoke in this pose? And you can attract that, and people will feel that who come near you in your poses. You don't have to wear fancy stuff. Like I'm out here to show you. I wear this every day. It's called a t-shirt and some stretchy pants. You do not have to be fancy. We are all about come as you are, especially if you're at home. No one's going to know if you practice in your pajamas. It's not just exercise. So we talked a lot today about exercise, but the reality is yoga is more than that because of that holistic umbrella, because there's such a focus on the breathing and connecting the mind and body together. The breath is the thread. So yoga is not about touching your toes. That is a myth. But it is about what you learn on the way to potentially touching your toes. My students tell me why do they come to yoga? If you say, why do you come to yoga? They might give any of these answers. But the basic answer they give is because I feel better. People who have a certain condition want to push their body away. They don't like it anymore. They want to reject it and get rid of it or erase it and get a new one. But the yoga helps you to focus more on what you can do, and then you become more united. It becomes more of a mind, body, spirit practice. And of course, we pride ourselves on being a community, and so the benefits they explode when you put people practicing together. And I believe in the whole energy. We don't have to be in the same room together. It's certainly very nice to practice together because you feel each other's energy, but you also can do it online and live as we are able today to do that. When I first started, we weren't doing that. So this is just an example. People say, I can't do down dog. Well, Tony up there, he's doing the traditional down dog, the upside down V. But Marcia over here with the 2 chairs, she's doing a variation of it. She is still lengthening her spine, and she's probably still using some core there. So she's definitely getting some benefit of it. And actually this one right next to her with the 2 chairs, she's showing it against the wall. Her hands are against the wall. We call that wall dog. And so that one, she's opening up her shoulders, lengthening her spine, lengthening the back of her legs. And then Denise is against the wall in a chair. Students, I've been doing this for almost 2 decades, and I still learn when I go in the yoga classroom because everybody is different. I see you nodding. Yes, everybody is different. And so what happens is someone comes up with another idea. The creativity from adaptive yoga is part of the fun of it. So what works for one body might not necessarily be the thing that works for another body. And so you can see here, this is the famous tree pose. So this pose can help very much with balance, and we can play all different ways with it. And then she's against the wall, so she's using the wall and facing into the wall. She could also face away from the wall and have the wall back to her. Marcia's using a chair. Lori's showing tree pose, holding onto the back of the chair. And you can see Terry's holding the wall and the chair. There's so many different ways to go about this. Warrior pose. Here we have Suzanne in the chair, and then we've got Terry standing behind the chair. They're getting similar benefits. Suzanne is getting a stretch in the front of her quad and in front of her thigh, her back thigh. She's getting a nice lengthening through her side body. And she's undoubtedly using core to stay upright like that. Same thing, she's showing it seated with her knee on the blanket. She's probably also getting a really nice side body stretch on the left side of her body. So a lot of times, you're using the pose to get at what you were trying to do, like, I'm feeling really tight, or I want to work on some posture today, or my shoulders are coming forward a lot, or whatever spasticity, maybe you're working on leg stretches for the day. So you can tailor the practice to what you want to do. And the practice could be 5 minutes. and it could be 10 minutes, and it certainly could be an hour long. So that's another thing. You get to tailor the practice to your needs. So we're going to play a little bit with movement now. And if anyone wants to call out, like either a pose or something in your body you want to work on, anyone want to throw that out? Either online or in person? Anything? Body part? Oh, we got it quiet here. All right. You guys want to work on anything?
No.
All right. All right. So they're starting in their mountain poses. And actually, one of you have a seat, please, so we can show one seated and one standing. All right. And I'm going to actually go right next to you, or I'll go kind of in front of you so you can see me. But then I'm in front of you. All right. So let's start by doing some cat-cow together, because one of the things, a lot of people say, oh, my back hurts me. And this is real accessible for people, is cat-cow. Now, I'm going to show it. If I go on the mat, Bill, are you going to see me? Okay, so I'm going to show traditional cat-cow. You're smiling. I think you want to come up here. Do you want to come up here? Oh, all right. Beth is going to do cat-cow. So we can do cat-cow in the chair, and we can do cat-cow on the floor. So I call it the earth. Anyway, so Beth is at first going to be in table pose. She's going to put her shoulder blades together. So notice her palms are down. Now, if somebody has sore wrists, we might give them blocks. She's going to show the blocks now. Sometimes we roll the mat, or we put a little rolled blanket under there. We have some, they're called yoga dumbbells, sometimes we use. But there are different ways to get at when somebody has a sore wrist. Best plan now. All right, we're just going to show the pose. So now you're going to take your chin to your chest. She's going to round her spine and take her tailbone down. That's the cat pose. Picture an angry cat ready to pounce at you. So now she's rounding her spine, and what's happening is she's getting a lot of lengthening. But there's something interesting about cat. Let's take you to cow, though, now. So now she's going to bring her shoulder blades together, and you can kind of see her belly swoops down and her tailbone goes up. And now you can kind of rock that forward and back. So here's our cat. Now the cat, we often do the exhale. And when we do the exhale, the belly pulls in. Now go to the cow pose, and then we inhale, and then the belly drops back down. There's a little toning, but not a lot. That's more intricate. But so see how she's exhaling. You can't see her exhaling, but try it yourself now, seated. So I'm going to show it seated. Here's a side view. And then everyone's going to do it with me. You guys online can do this too. Either you choose Beth version, or on your seat, you round your spine, take your chin to your chest. I'm hearing an echo. And we lean back. So that's the lengthening of the back of the spine. Yes, and then you lift your heart on the cow. Your shoulder blades roll up and back. Shoulder blades come together, and the head slightly lifts. We don't drop our chin back, but we lengthen the back of the neck. So as you do that, I hope as you're playing with this wave of your spine, there's a release going on. The spine likes to move in different directions. So when we're doing the cat pose, there's some flexion. And then when we do the cow pose, we're doing the opposite curve, so concave and convex. And one is more of a back bend, and one is more of a forward bend. Thank you for that. You're probably getting tired in that position for a while. How do you feel, Beth? Fabulous. Fabulous. So this is something you could do at your desk. You're sitting and you're watching a program, or you're sitting in the doctor's office and you just want to release your spine. You want to release your spine. So that's cat-cow, which is a nice simple one. Let's do a twist, because we might have had a nice meal and now it's been a while and we're able to digest it. Twists a day, at least a twist a day, at least a twist a day. Now, we could do a twist in bed. we could do a twist seated and we can do a twist standing. And so we're showing you a few different variations. So Lori's going to show the seated twist. She's going to take her left hand outside her right thigh and her right hand behind her. And so Beth's doing a version of a standing twist. Yeah, everybody try that. Now, by the way, when you go into these poses, you want to stay somewhere between 3 to 5 breaths. There's no golden rule. You don't want to rush through a twist. And so at least 3 to 5 breaths. Really feel it on one side and then the other. Turning the neck last. Yeah, and you might gaze over the shoulder. So what's wonderful about a twist, not only is it wringing out the spine and moving those abdominal organs that can get kind of static, especially when we've been sitting or in one place for a long time, we're getting all that kind of movement there, helps digestion, and it opens up the shoulders. And this is a great little remedy for when the shoulders are rounding forward to do a little twist. You could even do, if you were at a rest stop and you'd been driving for a while, you could do a twist. Just to show you another standing twist could look something like this, where I'm doing my wall dog, but then I take one arm out to the side and up. So that's a twist. Or here we are in a lunge. Front knee is bent. We could still do a twist like that. So there's so many different variations. And the one in bed, do you want to show the one where you could do a twist in bed? I like to say, some people are like, I can't get down to the earth. But this is one of those poses you could do in bed, which is Beth's going to lie down on her back. Take a little break, Beth. You've been working hard today. She's really good at that. Now, pull your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a big hug. See, yoga is a hug because it's something you're doing for yourself. Certainly, you're interacting with people afterwards, but this is an independent practice. Now, Beth's going to take her knees and let them drop to the right. There's variations, but we're going to let you take your knees towards the right, and then her arms are open. So it's very similar. When you were in the chair, you were doing a twist, and she's showing both ways. That's something we certainly could do lying down in bed. Really, really nice. Some people say that twists kind of wake them up a little bit, and some people say it helps them go to sleep. And I'll tell you a little secret, that some people do twists in the potty. Like you're on the toilet seat, and you're like, I'm sitting here for a while, and you want a little help? So a twist on the potty. I know, you think I'm a little, is that too much? Is that TMI? Dr. Khattri's laughing. It might be a little TMI, but it actually does work. It does work. All right, so Beth is actually showing a great version of restorative Shavasana. She's just having a little rest down there now. We're going to... Shavasana, by the way, is one of the most important poses of the practice. It's the restorative pose at the end. It's considered a pose of non-doing, where you're enjoying stillness and quietude in your breath. And such a beautiful demo here. But some people, especially new students, say it's the hardest pose of all. Can you imagine that? Lying down and resting and focusing on the breath, becoming still is the hardest pose of all. And in our culture, I think that's very true. That giving yourself the permission to take the time. I also saw that on one of the slides. How much leisure time, how much sleep is so very important. So let's show now, just stay right there. You don't move too much, honey. So we're going to show the leg stretch pose. And Laura, you can sit, and Beth's going to stay on the earth. And we're going to put a strap around Beth's leg. Good. She's going to soften her knee. And so how many of you have spasticity? I can't hear you over the screen, but Is there anybody in this room who has spasticity? Yeah, we got a few. So this can be very, very helpful to stretch the back of the leg. Now, Beth is pretty flexible. If someone wasn't, we might have them bend the bottom knee and place the foot down. And is it okay if the leg does not straighten all the way? Is it okay if the leg doesn't straighten all the way? Thank you, Judy. Because Judy is an experienced Yoga Move student, she knows that we do not have to, if you're going to go to where your body tells you to go, you are not pushing past that. So what the idea behind the mindfulness is that you are feeling the sensation in your body. Now you can see Lori's doing the same pose, very nice posture. She's still using a strap. Now, if we had another chair, we might put it underneath her heel so she could rest her heel on there and maybe get a little bit more of a stretch. I'm a real fan of 2 and 3 chair yoga. Sometimes people feel more when they relax their leg and then they stretch. So it's real important to make the pose work for you rather than this picture in your mind of what it is supposed to look like. This is absolutely one of my favorite to do when it comes to spasticity in the legs. And these can be, you could do this a few times a day, you could do this once a day, and you can hold them for a while as well. Now, what would you do if you had a spasm? You'd let it go. You'd let it go. You would never push past a spasm. We'll do one more pose before we end, because this is just a little taste for you, is warrior pose. And we're going to do warrior pose standing and warrior pose. Actually, they're showing the pose right there in warrior pose. So we're going to take one of you is going to sit. And you guys certainly could be doing this in where you're seated. So we're going to bend our right knee. First, we're going to take a seat. Now you're going to face. So warrior 2, you're going to face our audience, and you're going to bend your right knee out to the side towards Beth, right? And then she's going to extend her left leg. Now she's got to find the place that's right for her with this knee. So some people may not lengthen this leg. They may bend it, and that's okay. Now, what are you feeling in your knee right now?
Feels normal.
Okay, so let's place the heel down here a little bit. There you go. How's that?
Yep.
Okay. So now, act like a fierce warrior, a peaceful warrior. Yes? Now, you can take your arms down whenever you want, or you can keep them up. And then, Beth, you show it standing. So she's going to take a big, wide stance on her mat. Now, what if balance is a concern? She might have a chair in front of her or to the side of her. You're right in front of Lori. Now, what are you thinking? We didn't really choreograph this.
I'll be off the mat. I'll use this chair. How's
that? Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So here we have 2 warriors, both beautiful. Oh, I love what I see in the audience too. I love it. So once you've done one side, you take a little break and then you go to the other side. And if it was fatiguing, you might take a longer break. So it just depends. And then we're going to now you're going to want to come back up and take a longer stance. Yep, because we want to keep that knee over the heel and ankle to protect ourselves. That's part of the optimal blueprint. You go, Dr. Cotry. You should have been up here demoing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's wonderful, wonderful. And then come out of it when you're ready. Bring your feet back together. So if your feet have been wide for a while, you bring them back in. Bring them back in. Namaste. So are there any requests out there for a body part before we end? I love adapting the poses to people's requests, and that's part of what we do in our classes is we take requests because everybody's got different things going on in their bodies. And so when you make a yoga practice for yourself, when you do it at home, you might just choose a few poses depending upon what you're working on for the day. And maybe it's balance. Maybe it's spasticity. Maybe it's pain. Maybe it's shoulder work. And so we can tailor it to you. Tailor it to you. Let's take our arms out wide and then take your right arm over your left. Oops, echo. And then you hug yourself. Yes, yes. Oh, I love the hugs going on here. Yeah, you could shake it, rock, rock. Notice how that rocking came in naturally. Big smiles. And then open up your arms wide and bring the left over the right. Big hug. Take your fingers. Maybe you feel just a little, give a little pressure there. Give yourself a little pressure point massage. And then when you're right, I love this rocking. This is really, really nice. And then let that go. And then lift your shoulders up to your ears and roll them back. A common request is necks. Anybody get neck pain at all? Or you wake up with kind of a neck that feels a little tight? So what we want to do for that is roll the shoulders up and back, get kind of neutral, and then we're going to drop our ear towards the right shoulder. I'm mirroring you. We're mirroring you. Well, we're kind of doing both. So take one ear towards one shoulder and relax the shoulder. And take about 3 breaths there. And then inhale and lift the head back up. Beautiful. And then we go to the other side. Yeah, so you're going to notice that one side is a little tighter than the other. And that's perfectly normal. And then inhale, come back up. We learn a lot about ourselves as we do these poses. We learn a lot about our body and what our body needs and perhaps how we're holding our body. I'm always learning, and the thing is what was also mentioned today is we're in a constant change. So depending upon how you slept the day before, what went on before you start your practice, whether you're fresh up or you're midway through your day, your practice is going to change. Let's take our arms up overhead, reach high to the sky, and then bring your hands towards your heart. Yeah, so this is a little mini sun salute. And then exhale, arms down. And inhale, they lift up. And bring your hands towards your heart. Good. Let's cross one hand over the other and bring your palms over your heart. And maybe you close your eyes here. And feel your body breathing. So this is a nice soft breath in and out through the nose. We're not trying to force it. The breath is as it is. It's perfect just as it is. Lips are softly touching. Tongue is resting towards the back palate. You're feeling the rise and fall of your belly, and possibly the ribs expanding and softening. And a little subtle lift and settling back down to the heart. Just taking this pause in the day, this pause to regroup. It could be a 30-second pause, or it could be a full-blown meditation where you're sitting for a specific period of time. This is the way we nurture ourselves. with compassion and self-acceptance and loving kindness. This is what this practice is about. This is what this day has been about. There is great power to heal within you, as you heard from Dr. Khatri and our other speakers who led us along this potential journey for brain health, lifestyle changes, to really live our best life. Breathing in and out softly. We're going to say this together. It's a practice of loving kindness mindful meditation. So you can start by thinking of somebody else in your life that you'd like to send this to. So you can picture them in your mind. May you be happy. You're saying this to this person or individual. May you be healthy. May you be at ease and free from harm. And may my words, deeds, and actions contribute to your health, happiness, and peace. And then think of the community. It could be your family. It could be your friends. It could be more global. It could be our community that was gathering here today, that's gathering here. And so we're going to send the same message. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be at peace and free from harm. And may my words, deeds, and actions contribute to your peace, health, and happiness. And finally, which can often be the hardest, is to yourself. You're going to say to yourself, may I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from harm and at ease. And may all that I do contribute to my health, happiness, peace, and joy. And we'll bring our palms together in front of our heart as we express gratitude for this practice, this powerful, powerful practices, and the powerful, powerful information that you learned today. And you'll softly open and close your eyes as you return to your space, wherever you may be. And as we end, I want you to know that we're not leaving you, that you can turn into our daily live classes that are free, that we do have an on-demand online library with all different kinds of classes, short and longer, and for specific types of practices. There is the Adaptive Yoga Moves Anybody book and Adaptive Yoga cards. And of course, you can reach us through our website, and I'm very open to texts and emails. So please reach out. And there's two of our wonderful teachers with our Detroit class, and they are wishing you, or they are saying to you, and we are all saying to each other as we reflect back to each other, because we all have light, that we honor, respect, acknowledge, feel this light in ourselves and towards each other. We see it in each other's gaze, and we feel it in their energy. Namaste, everyone. Namaste. As we close our day, I didn't bring my glasses up. But I want to thank everything and everybody that brought you to this space today. I want to thank all our wonderful, wonderful speakers. It's been our absolute pleasure to be in the Chicago area with you. There were people here from Chicago and Wisconsin primarily. We learned so much from each other. The questions were phenomenal. Thank you, thank you, thank you to our speakers. Your information was invaluable. We thank our generous sponsors. We could not do it without our sponsors. And all of the support that goes into this program. Lori works tirelessly from the beginning, before it's just when the event is just a concept, putting together all the pieces almost every day. She's always ahead of me. Beth is always coordinating our events. She's our program manager. And oh, I'm sorry, vice president. So please join us. We want your feedback. Again, we're bribing you with, if you fill out the survey, you tell us how we did, then you get a free download from us. So we really do want to hear about you. In order to do more programs, we're always looking to improve. So again, thank you to our sponsors. I want to put on that slide, Bill, just so. All right, thank you, everybody. Namaste.